Congressman, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Congressman, let's start with your trip to the Dominican Republic. Talk a little bit about that. You were there for the presidential inauguration of Danilo Medina. Talk a little bit about what you experienced in your trip.
Well, I always think in honor of the Dominicans that I serve in the Congress, I know their deep-seated concern about politics on the island. And so, as in the last inauguration, I went there representing my constituents. And this time I did the same thing, representing the Congress as well as my constituents. And I was received graciously, as always. As you know, the Dominican Republic is not only a great friend of the United States, but as a result of some of my initiatives, they're a great trading partner with the United States. And so I was pleased to find that the Dominican business people, as well as the political arena, welcomed my coming there for the inauguration. Unfortunately, I was only there for that day and came back the next day, but it was a wonderful ceremony. And you should have seen me with the attire for today. All white suit, white shirt, black tie, black shoes. Hey, and everybody, I thought I was in heaven when you're in a flock of people, men and women all dressed in white.
Congressman, talk a little bit about one of your colleagues, Todd Akin, apparently is in a lot of problems, a lot of trouble. And what do you make of his comments? And how does that help President Obama and the Democrats' possibilities of retaking control of the Congress?
Well, it's hard for me to be that political when you see how bad American politics have become. First of all, this man has said, and he hasn't really changed what he has said, that he truly believes that the female body can close down and stop pregnancy if that pregnancy was the result of a illegal rape. Now, he's on the Science Committee in the House of Representatives. So you know, first of all, it doesn't make any sense at all about what he's saying. The danger in this is that the Republicans are trying desperately hard to see who can be perceived as the meanest on issues that concern our treatment of women. And certainly Paul Ryan on the floor, when they said it was the exception should be of death, he argued that a Mack truck can go through that argument so that even the exemption for death should not be there because doctors would always declare it. So you can find that this senator and Paul Ryan think from the same page. They would rather have people die or come forth with child as a result of incest and pregnancy in order to have the position that nobody is more restrictive on abortion than they are. And indeed, it's not just bad politics, it's bad morality.
Congressman, the choice of Paul Ryan, right? And we see that President Obama's polling currently beating in polls Governor Romney. The choice of Paul Ryan, do you think that thus far the Democratic Party has done a good job telling the American people what his positions are as far as women's rights and Medicare?
In all due respect to the President of the United States, whose program is about as close to anything that I ever wished for politically in my life. Decent education for our children, free college for the education of America, universal health care, affordable housing, diplomacy, not war, and protection of the environment. These things we don't have to lobby President Obama for. And these are the principal things that I don't know why the spiritual community can't grab these things. To me, it's just as important as the Old and New Testament, the Koran, the Quran. Every faith says, how do you treat the most vulnerable of our society? And here we have a tax system that protects a handful of rich people at the expense of the rest of the people. I don't know why we don't find more intolerance by the religious community. Having said that, I think the best thing that ever happened to Obama and to Democrats was the selection of Mitt Romney. And better than even that was Mitt Romney's selection of Paul Ryan. And let me tell you why. First of all, Ryan truly believes in everything that he is saying, and he's not going to allow. I served with him on the Ways and Means Committee for decades. He's not going to allow common sense or reason to turn him around. He believes in his issues, such as no abortion, no matter what, as though it was a religion. And Mitt Romney is not going to change him politically. Even as we avoid discussion on the budget, you will find that Mitt Romney says that he will determine what he agrees with, but he hasn't said what it is. And Paul Ryan keeps talking about our budget when it's basically the Ryan budget. And as far as Mitt Romney is concerned, it's hard for me to think of any national issue that is controversial that Mitt Romney hasn't taken a position on both sides.
Congressman, the money fight now, and you have been a victim of the attacks of the conservative PACs and these super PACs that anonymous donors can give money to, and nobody knows who's giving the money, who's doing what. Do you think that President Obama, after Citizens United, or the Democratic Party made a mistake in not getting involved with these PACs sooner? And we see the difference between the amount of money Romney's raised and the outside money that can, paint the picture or distort, the American public to what's going on. Do you think it was a mistake not to get on board right after, or do you think he did the right thing? For example, Priorities USA is